celebration of International Women's Day, the Assembly Legislature spearheaded a debate session with girls and women. The motion focused on establishing a comprehensive women's health action plan to address issues such as period poverty and increase mental health resources for women and girls. The ladies presented arguments for and against the motion, which was brought by the area representative for Bethesda Lekoto and leader of Assembly Business, Joshel Dan.
As a THA executive, we recognize that period poverty is in fact an issue and one that deserves our utmost attention. It is our responsibility as elected officials to ensure that no woman or girl is deprived of the products that she needs to lead a decent life. This is her right. We are talking about human rights. Empowering local communities to take responsibility and show compassion for those in need is a far more sustainable approach. Real change does not always come from policies on paper. It comes from communities stepping up and supporting their own. Too often, we look to others for solution when the real power lies in our own hands. As the old folks say, one hand can't clap. We must come together, support each other, and take action to create opportunities rather than waiting on the government to do everything.
While the minority clings to their "we can't afford it" argument, I ask, can we really afford to ignore it? And let's talk about sustainability. Some argue that even if this program gets funding, it won't be consistent. But that's why proper policy planning is key. By integrating menstrual product distribution into existing schools, clinics, and community centers, we ensure access without needing an entirely new infrastructure. Public-private partnerships can also help ease financial burdens.
So while we welcome the concept of soliciting contributions from private sector partnerships, we cannot ignore the elephant in the room. This urgent matter requires the government's intervention and leadership, regardless of how you look at it. Just dropping it in the laps of non-governmental organizations will leave it for stagnation and delay, as we have seen thus far. Madam Presiding Officer, there are millions of dollars in international funding available to address issues like closing the gaps in women's health care and similar social issues.
I've heard the Chief Secretary stating that they are unable to fully place their confidence in NGOs, and this is why they have to take such an approach of putting so much of Tobagonians' money into this. Now, again, this is the micromanaging of this administration. Why not empower these groups to do what it is that they have already started?
I decided why not jump in the fray to be able to contribute to a local and a national conversation on period poverty and broader women's health issues. So for me, it was very personal and really just an opportunity to join the conversation or rejoin the conversation and amplify it.
I think what I would take away most is the fact that the training has been extremely realistic and everything about it is completely tied to the actual standing orders and everything that happens in the house. So for young women who are really and truly interested in moving forward and having a career in politics and representation, the experience prepares you for that. So you have a realistic expectation of what that would look like in the future.
I am so extremely proud of the young women of Tobago. The age groups that were represented, from the very young high school students to the more mature young women in society. Period poverty is something that is an issue near and dear to our hearts, and I think that this debate was very timely, that each of the presenters articulated their points very clearly, very succinctly. You know, they were very passionate about the issue, presenting the both sides of the argument.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.